ground in the sky, animals and birds will live life. Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. All things and what they used to be. All right. Things ain't what they used to be. What's going on? Hi, I'm Harold Bell, and this is the Legends of Inside Sports and the Way We Were. Today, we're going to try to figure out what's going on. And I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with my main man in Annapolis, Indiana. And I'm talking about a guy who's not only talking the talk, but he's walking the walk. He is a minister. He is a prolific writer, talk show host, youth counselor. He does it all. So once again, I would like to welcome my friend, the one and only, Mr. Mike Ramey. How you doing, Mike?
Hi, what's going on, Coach?
Man, you the man. What's going on? Do you need to ask what is going on? That is a good question. Mike, people are up in arms. Of course, we're talking about Michael Cohen being called before the House subcommittee, asking, what is the real deal with our president, Donald Trump? And man, did they open up Pandora's box. Tell us how you feel about the hearing, and which direction did it take us?
Well, to be honest, here's a guy that's going to go to prison and has been disbarred from law because he lied to Congress, and he was convicted of a felony of lying to Congress. And Congress brought him back to testify about things he doesn't know about a sitting president. To me, it was comical how desperate people are to bring down President Trump. And what people don't realize is that they tried the same thing with President Obama, except it was under the table. And it backfired on Obama. It backfired on people who tried to get rid of Obama, and it's going to backfire on those who want to get rid of Trump.
One of the things, Mike, the big question that everyone seems to not know the answer, but they keep asking, is Donald Trump a racist? Now, you can only go by what a man says, what his actions are, to tell where he's coming from. So that doesn't even need to be carried before a committee to say how Donald Trump really feels about people of color. But the thing that is happening here that blows me away, there's so much animosity between the leaders on the Republican side and the Democratic side. I see this as very selfish behavior, because they're supposed to be looking out for the American people. Who's looking out for the American people while they're fighting each other? And it has nothing to do with making this a better place for all of us to live. It's about individual egos. So that really disturbs me. And then, of course, what was more disturbing than anything else was them Republicans bringing a black African-American woman, Lynn Patton, to stand up and use her as a prop to say that the president isn't a racist. But the worst part is that she was not allowed to say anything. And it reminded me right away of a slave auction held over 400 years ago. They did the same thing to black folks back then. And here we are in 2019, and this kind of behavior is still going on, Mike.
Well, you got to remember something. Back during the time of slavery, we didn't have a choice on being propped up in front of slave buyers.
Right.
Now we are being propped up by our own desires and our own greed, in the interest of selling somebody out 30 pieces of silver like Judas did Jesus. It seems that the national black pastime is use me, abuse me, but go ahead and pay me.
Right. Right.
Do what you want to me, just make sure I get my check.
Yeah.
That's why
right.
Checks from the Social Security Administration have been flooding the black community for the last 20-some odd years, getting black folk to say their kids are crazy so they can get a check every month, and then when they age out of getting a check at 21, 22, 23, you've got a black man or a black woman who's essentially a man or a woman in age, but mentally they haven't gone anyplace. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget what the one of our former school superintendents said years ago, black school superintendent. He said that children are learning disabled from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. But after 3 p.m., they can go out here and use the computer and Twitter and all this other stuff just like everybody else. So who is Zooming who? You have the new chancellor of D.C. schools came from our school district, came from running our school district, and he ran our school district into the ground.
Wow.
And y'all got him now in D.C.
Wow.
So it's like as soon as black folk nowadays get in a position of authority, they're looking for their next job.
Mm-hmm.
They're not interested in helping the community. They're not interested in staying around long enough so the next generation can succeed. There was a brother here that died a few years back. His name was Frederick Kelly. He was the dean of students at Tech High School. Man was in education for more than 50 years. His wife was in education for more than 50 years. His daughter teaches at his school where he was the dean of students. The man was a captain in the Army, honorably discharged, Tuskegee connected, and this brother was not a prop by anybody, but yet and still he helped to train a good portion of the black administrators in my city over the years. Wow. Here's the thing. It's not about being out there, having publicity. It's about having impact. And if more of us would just stop looking behind us as to whether or not we've been thanked properly, or God is the one that's responsible for promotion. We're not responsible. God lifts up one and sets down another. God put Obama in the presidency and Trump in the presidency to keep Hillary Clinton from getting the presidency, and that Jezebel would have killed everybody she could have.
Mike, that is fascinating, man. That the chancellor from your district ran your system into the ground. Now we have hired him in Washington, D.C. to do the same thing, and his track record was there for all of us to observe. But Miriam Bowser, the mayor, brought him in anyway.
His name is Furby. And like I said, that's something you need to look into, because I'm telling you from jump, this man pimped the church community. He pimped Indiana Black Expo. The standards of the students went nowhere.
Wow.
In fact, he lost students and didn't tell the public until the year he was getting ready to leave that our school district used to be the largest in the state. And now over the last, my mind is still boggling how somebody who's superintendent could not tell the public that we were losing students like a sieve to the surrounding townships and suburbs, and still talking about wanting more money for education when you don't have the students, and nobody said nothing until he was about ready to leave.
Wow.
So this is what y'all getting in D.C.
Wow.
Yeah, you get Indiana's mix. That's what you get.
No.
But see, that goes back to the prop aspect. If you've got the talent, if you're successful, if you know what you're doing, you can't be a prop.
That's right. That's right. Amen.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
I've rubbed elbows with the rich and famous just like you have. But one thing I've realized is that I don't want to be pounded on the streets about somebody wanting my autograph and this, that, and the other. I'm at the stage of life that, hey, I'm content to be a coach. I'm content to help other folk move forward. Hey, if you want to be famous, if you want to run for office, if you want to write a column, be more than happy to show you how to. But there's two sides to fame. What they don't tell you is that on your way up, you see the same people that you don't meet on your way down.
That's right.
And a lot of people, especially these days, can't handle being out there in the spotlight. They wind up killing themselves, drugging themselves. Actually, what you ought to do is get another theme song for the show instead of having Mercy, Mercy. You ought to get the Temptations, Ball of Confusion, because that's we are a ball of confusion.
Yeah.
Right is wrong, wrong is right, and it's just like God said in the book of the Revelation, is that all this was coming. Well, Apostle Paul said it in his epistles. So, in the last days, perilous times shall come. Well, we're here. We're in the last days. You got folk in the largest cities in America, New York, D.C., Chicago, Los Angeles. They've got the toughest gun restrictions on the books, and they've also got the highest murder rates because why? Because criminals have guns.
Yep.
So it's about politics. It's about politics. That's why they're trying to get rid of Trump, because Trump doesn't fit the narrative. Just like Obama. Obama did not fit the narrative. They were so mad the first 2 years that Obama was president, they didn't pass anything that he wanted. And they were all Democrats. He could have had the health care plan in place the first year he was in office, but those white Democrats didn't like the fact that there was a nigger in the White House that they could not control.
Politics makes strange bedfellows, and I'm here to say, that I was a prop. When I was invited to the White House in 1969 by President Richard Nixon, I was a prop. My wife and I went to the White House. But you stop to think about a prop. Props have been going back and forth to the White House forever, ever since there's been a White House. I know during my time, props were in there like Muhammad Ali, Sammy Davis, Jim Brown, Duke Ellington, Al Sharpton was even there. So props have been there, but the thing is, what do you do and how do you react as being a prop? See, I refuse to go along with the get along, as a prop. I decided that I was going to find a way to help my people. And that's what I did. The administration didn't use me. I used the administration. And it all came, as I realized what I was able to accomplish when this young lady, Lynn Patton, went up to be a prop. That is the worst kind of prop. Jim Brown is the worst kind of prop. He hustled the administration, but really, he did great because he got $50 million out of Trump in disguise as prison reform. That's using the administration. But you you have to think, Mike, both of us are writers for blackmeninamerica.com, the blog, which is really one of the most popular blogs in social media. Out of 50 black websites, Black Men in America is ranked number 14 out of 50, man. So when you stop and think about the influence that we have as writers on this particular website, man, we decide which way that we want to go and how to carry our people. I noticed that you, in your latest blog, you ended Black History Month asking the brothers, do you have your armor on? What did you mean about that, Mike?
I wanted to know if the brothers were, basically getting rid of that wintertime thinking and getting mentally ready for spring and summer and fall. That's what I was shooting at, because a man without a religious foundation and God is not much of a man and he won't be an eternal success. See, too many young men today are falling for, like my dad said, they're falling for the okie doke. Whatever society says, they dance to the tune. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them. And what I was shooting for with the column is to just get the brothers mentally prepared for warmer weather, when they would be more visible and have the opportunity to be more successful. I remember Dick Gregory said years ago that there were a couple of years that black folk took off from riot season to go over the consumer reports to see what was worth looting. And he said white folk got worried because we weren't in the streets looting and shooting like we were. Well, where were you? We got the cops and the tanks and the National Guard waiting for you. Well, we decided not to play those 2 years. See, you have to always remember that if God gives you the platform to reach people, you have to reach them for the good. We need to get off the bitter aid. We need to get off the haterade and stop looking back at what we don't have. We're in a position where we are because God, through Jesus Christ, put us in this position to make an impact on society. And when I was writing the column this month, there was a book that I've been praying would show up, and it's called Them Days Was Hell. It's an 8,000-plus page book on slavery, written from the first-hand testimonies of slaves and documented by white writers in the 1930s. And it was under the WPA back in the Great Depression. And what have we heard from both parties for a number of years? Well, we don't have any records to prove that there was slavery. Well, this is an 8,000-plus page book of first-hand testimony covered mostly by white writers from black slaves that were there, their eyewitness accounts. So now we have a tool to get our reparations, finally. And that's what it's all about. I'm writing on reparations for years, and my slogan is the same in my column. America, check please. You paid everybody else. You owe us between $3 to $15 trillion. That's trillion, not billion, not million, trillion. Wow. As Randall Robinson said in his book, that America has paid everybody else. Now it's our turn, and society continues to work to try to get us off our goal, which is free and fair compensation for the 180 some odd years of free labor that this country got out of us. You got black slaves buried. And see, people didn't like Michelle Obama when she brought this up, but there are black slaves buried in Arlington National Cemetery who worked on building the Capitol Dome and other portions of D.C. As a matter of fact, if you want to get back into black history, if it wasn't for Benjamin Banneker, you even have Washington, D.C. built the way it is today.
Mm-hmm. You know, Mike, there was a paragraph in your story, in your blog that says, to be marked as a man and not a male means that a brother must be prepared to tell the truth in all instances, regardless of the cost involved. You say you may lose a job or promotion or relationship. Nevertheless, think of what you will lose if kept silent. I think that was strong, my brother.
Well,
That
it's
was
true.
strong.
It's true. What people forget to do today, and what people have done to forget, or have gone on to forget, thanks because of society and all this social media and stuff, is they forgot how to read and they forgot how to think. Life is not supposed to be fair. Life is like the farmer that had an extra donkey, an extra mule, and instead of taking him home, put him in a pit and dumped trash on him for weeks. Well, what that donkey did was stomp on that trash and moved up a little higher. And eventually, the donkey stomped on enough trash to reach the top of the hole and walk away. Life is going to dump trash on you. That's assured from the day you're born to the day you die. You're going to have, especially if you're in the skin like I am. You know, Harold.
Oh, yes. Been there.
Like the OJs. You know, they smile in your face and something all the time. They want to take your place. Backstab. And we met the OJs. My wife and I met the OJs, just like you and your wife went to the presidential archives. My wife and I, when OJs came to Annapolis back in the 90s, my wife was my photographer, and I had a chance to write a story on them, and for the Annapolis Recorder, which is where my column is running now. Thank you very much. So I'm gonna get in trouble here at home, and I'm gonna get in trouble everywhere else. But when we met the OJs, the guy that was in charge, the lead singer, that had a lot to do with their music selection,
Eddie LeVert.
Yeah. I asked him. I said, Eddie, you ever think of writing a sequel to Backstabbers? And he said, he said that when we wrote that song in the 70s, we had hoped that things would get better. He said, but things have not only not gotten better, they've gotten worse.
That's right.
And I said, there you go. You need to do a Backstabber sequel somehow.
Yeah. Hey, we're talking to Mike Ramey in Annapolis, Indiana, and Mike is a regular co-host here on the Legends of Inside Sports, and we're taking a look at where we are in America today, and I'm telling you, it is not a great spot to be. You know, we got racism all around. Like Eddie LeVert said, it's getting worse. You know, just right out here, right next door, Mike, we have a governor who was caught in blackface. We don't know if he was in blackface or wearing a Ku Klux Klan robe. He admitted that he was in one of them, and then, of course, he said he wasn't. And now we have his wife. He's been asked to resign. You know, hey, man, get out of here. We don't want you no more. Now his wife comes up at a tour of the governor's mansion with little school children, most of them black. She passes out cotton balls and tells the little kids, well, aren't you happy that you're not on the plantation anymore, or act like escaped slaves? Now, here's her husband in hot water for wearing blackface in a Ku Klux Klan robe, and she is going to pass out cotton balls at a tour of the mansion to elementary school children, man. So, you know, it's very difficult for those who have always stood up and told the truth to see these kind of things happening around us with people in positions of power, and it seems like we're stuck on stupid, Mike.
Well, that's because there are a lot of folk that are so enamored with being a Democrat or a Republican that they'll go in there and continue to pull the lever for their party, even though their party has left them.
Yeah.
It also goes to show how desperately people will cling on to power no matter what they do. You got folk that won't resign from office until they are actually convicted of something. We had a couple of little scandals here where we had politicians that were caught doing something and would not resign until they were actually convicted. What kind of signal are you sending to the public? You got the whole top tier of the Virginia elected officials caught in wrongdoing, and they wonder why black people are leaving the Democrat Party to think for themselves and vote for themselves. Because if I would have had more courage if that black brother, I would have had more confidence if that black brother said, I did this, it was wrong, I'm stepping down. I would have had more confidence in him than for him to sit there and try to keep political power because, I'm here, I may as well use the power I have to quote unquote better things for my people. No, that's wrong. If you know you did wrong, it's time for you to pay for it. And you got a whole bunch of East Coast Democrats in Virginia thinking that they're above common decency. Because see, what's really sad is we don't control our image. There are no sanctions from the black community if you make fun of us. What sanctions have there been on the governor and lieutenant governor and the number 3 man in Virginia and that governor's wife for doing what they do? What did black folks say? No. Yes, master, we don't go along with you. We'll go for the okie doke.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the reason why people can make fun of us is how are we going to sanction them? Back in the day, all it would take is if our people were treated wrong, all it would take would be for Harold Bell to put something in the paper or put something on the air, and that was it. When you were with Petey Green, all you had to do was put something on the air, and they stopped that stuff.
Oh, yes.
Because they was fair to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I told some young journalists 3 or 4 years ago how the news business worked, and those journalists are no longer where they are because they didn't take me seriously. Mm-hmm. But I told them, I said, the job of the black press is to make folks scared to mess with the black community. Mm-hmm. That's our job. When you put something on the air, a lot of people listen. And if you want to see things change, you solidify your power base and broaden your power, and you've done that in the books, in the videos, into all kinds of areas. Mm-hmm. But that's the job of the black press. That's the job of the press in general, is to make sure that you don't mess with the people. But see, if you got white reporters so enamored with seeing themselves on TV, they forgot what they're supposed to be doing. And guess what? Black reporters have been impersonating white reporters.
Well, one of those things, Mike, when I came into the sports talk media in 1972, I laid the groundwork right from the beginning. You hit the nail on the head. I came in letting them know that they were not going to be able to say anything about me on the air that was negative or write anything about me. You understand? Because everything they said or wrote about me, I challenged, Mike. So they had to back off of me. I mean, they send the hitmen after me in white media. They send Dave McKenna, who's really a nice guy, who was trying to get a job with the Washington Post. They send Feinstein. They send Leonard Shapiro, Tony Kornheiser. They sent all these guys after me, man, because I had too much clout and people were listening to me. And I would never allow them to write something like they wrote on James Brown, who was now with CBS, who came by me and through me to get where he is now. They put a front page story on during Super Bowl week of him with his picture on the front page, calling him a black Santa. Now this is February, Mike. Christmas was over several months ago. It's not ahead, about 9 months still away. Why would you call this man Black Santa? You know, and he goes along to get along. And that's, you're right on the head. Until, they said, someone once said, until the lions hire their own public relations firm, the glory of the hunt will always go to the hunter. We don't control our image. We don't own no CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, Fox News. We don't have any control and where we can set sanctions on folks who disrespect us, you know? And that is a big problem, man. And man, we got so much to talk about. We run out of time. But Mike, you know, I take my hat off to you because I read you in Black Men in America. I take my hat off to Gary Johnson, the CEO and publisher of Black Men in America, for being able to keep this first-class website and blog going so that we can express ourselves and let people know how we feel. So, Mike, keep on doing the great work that you're doing and the great things that you're doing in Annapolis. And you got the last word. What do you want to say going out of here, Mike?
Hey, Coach, I want to thank you for having me on. I want to thank you for lifting my stock, so to speak. And I want to make sure that every time I come on there, everybody knows what's going on. See you next time.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mike Ramey. And once again, this has been the Legends of Inside Sports in the Way We Were. And I want you to remember that every black face you see is not your brother, and every white face is not your enemy. And you can catch Mike and myself on blackmeninamerica.com 24/7. Until next time, I'm Harold Bell, and you can color me gone. We don't need to escalate.